I hope y'all enjoyed the Rosewater series that deals with all of the biblical breakdowns. And I'll be adding more to that series, but I'm gonna add another series too to give you the occult side and to give you occult information. Not as a historian, because there are already many who are spearheading that, and to prevent redundancy and going over somebody else's work, I'll leave the history out and I'll just go with the mentalism and light code breakdowns for a lot of symbols. And I'm not to say that the way I see it is the way it is for you, but this is just how it makes sense to me, and it may resonate with you. I look at something like a pyramid on the back of the dollar bill, and I see what they say about a step pyramid also with degrees for each level. I also see an organization too with a pyramid. I see that each department could be a stone. And just like all companies, the positions get lower at the top. At the bottom is where you have all the clerks. But on a higher tier of the pyramid, there'll be less positions, but those positions will be more powerful. So you'll have a larger amount of bricks all the way at the bottom where there's customer service and people have to pick up the phones and deal with the customers, etc. Then you move up to the supervisor. Less bricks on that layer of the pyramid. A pyramid, especially the way they have it on the back of the dollar bill, is more so a trapezoid. It's more so a trapezoid with the cornerstone missing. The cornerstone really being invisible. The cornerstone really representing ethereal energy, mentalism, spirituality, the invisible force. The true cornerstone that holds all of existence together. Do we really even deserve to see that with the physical eye? So consider why that space is missing on the top of the pyramid. And consider why that eye is there too. That eye has been attributed to a lot of things, none of which I'll really go into here because that's already been taken care of. But I see the eye as the I. I see the EYE as the letter I, the capital letter I. At the top of whatever organization or company you run, you got to be the leader. And at the head of this thing, it is I. But what the eye does is it has the ability to look all over the body. The hands can't see you. The hands can't see the body. The feet can't see the body. But the eyes can see almost every body part. So the eye is singular. So the eye would be symbolic of the mind, seeing that as a singular eye. Otherwise, there would be two eyes on the pyramid that refer to just seeing the physical naked reality. But one eye is about seeing inside and seeing the reality behind the reality. Is the eye that goes right here. Or you could even say inside here in the center, in the pineal, in the pine cone. Pine trees last all year. Every season, the pine trees stand. The pine cone endures. The pineal is not sensitive to time. It's not sensitive to ages. It's not sensitive to rulerships or dynasties or any of that. The pine will continue to grow. All of this at the top of the pyramid where there's a gap, making that pyramid therefore a trapezoid. People of the trapezoid understand the invisible space on the top of that pyramid, and they understand that the capstone is not really missing. And yes, some of this is history, but that's not where I want to place the bulk of this, because I don't want to take a chance on whether or not you'll believe whatever the said information is out there, because even if it's written down, it can still be false. So I want to break it down where no matter whether this information is true or false, I want to make it make sense for you. I want it to be true for you. I want it to reach your truth. So that's why I always approach these things like a mentalist, because I'm a psychology major. So for me, it's all about the mind. You need the mind. The mind has to feed the right things to the heart. The heart is strong enough to do and manifest everything, but the heart does not always know how to choose things. The heart just will take it all in and feel it all. But the mind does the screening. At the top of the pyramid, the higher up you go, the more screening. So you get that screening process. And then the higher up you go, the more non-material it gets, until you finally see that that empty space right there is contributing to the eye. It's the mind's eye that allows you to see the empty spaces, allows you to see physicality where there's non-materiality. And it says, in God we trust. And you got dozens, and well, not dozens, no, not dozens, hundreds, probably even thousands of teachers who talk about what that represents also. What that phrase is about. A lot of people say it's the God Pan. A lot of people say is this God, that God. Is a whole, they can eventually list and potentially list an entire pantheon that is attributed to that I. But regardless of which I they say it is, know what the I is for you. Know what the I is for you. Because due to the power of Akasha, you're going to be right. Especially if it makes sense, especially if it's applicable. While I appreciate a lot of the history mentioned in occult philosophies, it doesn't always lead to practical applications. A lot of times it's just fantastical sounding information. Like, for instance, you can say that everywhere you are is a simulation. You have many schools of thought that say that, even going far as to say this entire place is a computer. I want to help you, whether you believe that the planet is a computer or not. I still want to help you to be able to compute what is going on this planet. I want to be able to deliver something to you out of any piece of information just to make it make sense for you. That is my purpose. I can't prove none of the history. I can't prove the history on the right-hand path nor the left-hand path. You know why? Because I wasn't there. But what I can prove is that sense can be made of all of it in a way that is practical and helpful and harmless for your life and for the lives of others around you. That is my purpose. That is my assignment. That is the particular unit that Taurian is, also known as Super T Sigma. That is Taurian. That is Taurian's soul mission and soul urge. Erykah Badu said she was underwater with $3.06, the 144,000 being the 9. 1 plus 4 plus 4 is 9. You don't add the zeros. It's not a head count. It's an energy signature. There are 9 teachers down here. I'm being one of them. I'm a 9. I'm a 9 teacher, which is a psychic empath and a person that is, the 9s are the designated future ascended masters. No matter what your background is, even if you can't read, you could still be a 9. Even if you're illiterate, you could still be a 9. They made a 9 out of Moses, and didn't he have a stuttering problem? Yet he still was the 9. He still was considered a leader of the chosen people on both sides. Moses' foundation was not the Torah. Moses' foundation was Egypt. That's where he was born and raised. That's his stomping grounds. That's his home base. It's Egypt. So we can't throw Egypt out. We can't throw anybody out. Just make sense of all of this stuff. I know they tried to brainwash a lot of us into believing that Egypt is bad and Egypt is evil. I'm not here to prove nor disprove any of that. I'm not concerned with those deeds. In regards to those deeds, I would just say keep yourself safe, regardless of what the nationality of people is. Just protect yourself at all times. Life is a fight sometimes. And you got to have your guards about you. You don't always have to go on the offensive, but you better defend. You better be able to defend yourself. So this, and the Venusian, again, playlist is going to be more so about occult stuff, but not from the perspective of me trying to convince you that certain things are real or me saying that certain things exist. I'll touch on them, but I'm more concerned about the breakdown of each piece of information in a way that would help you to take actionable steps right in the present moment. I don't want you to sit around believing whether or not what I said is made up out of my own mind or if it came from somebody else. No, I just come out and tell you, this is what I'm thinking about. This is how I process it. It's coming out of my mind and it's based on information that I read. I tell you like that. Because occult knowledge is, there's a level of it that is intentionally hidden from people. But there's also the wider part of what is considered occult is really just information that's right in our faces all the time that we fail to accept, which is also the basis of their occult information. They understand triangles, they understand shapes, they understand stuff like H2O and water. They understand that. An occultist can look at that and say, well, the H is 2 tables. That's the closing of the restaurant. The 2 is the symbol of the duality and the 0 is the portal. You got to close up shop before you go into a new dimension to open up a new restaurant and a new reality. Restaurant pertaining to food. So the letter H is 2 tables when the restaurant's closed because you're transitioning through the portal known as 0. In your duat, in your duality state. And that's water. Water can rise, it can fly as steam. It could be solid and protect you like ice, or it could just flow like a river. It can help you travel. It can carry you along. It could turn into a wave. It could wash you out. Water, it can boil, which is bubbling at the surface, letting you know that there's some heat going on underneath the surface. All of these is characteristics of the human condition. If you're steam, you're more ethereal. You're more light. Your vibration is higher. Your density is finer. If you're ice, you're more guarded, protected. You're more interested in security. You want to secure yourself. You build the ice wall, ice ring. You become ice. You freeze. You don't allow just any snake oil salesman to melt you down to your core. So you turn into tundra. You turn into ice. You protect yourself. And some people just know how to flow. It's just a river. They know how to flow. And then some people, they got waves. They know how to make waves. They say stuff that splashes on people. They say stuff that really comes up on shore, if you know what I mean. And that's their role. That's their assignment. And then water can just simply rain down from above to the point where people are just curious about, wow, how does this person come up with this stuff? That's like rain. Because to say how is automatically to reference what is not right here on the plane with us. The unknown is what's associated with being higher. What is considered higher can be considered more unknown. That's why they say you rise to a higher level, assuming that you don't know the information of the higher level because you're on the lower level. So rain comes down from so high up above. It's really just the clouds and whatever else. But symbolically, we look at that as like above. Lord, rain on us, rain down on us. You get the rain like that. And you get the connection to the rain and the spirituality. And the rain has information in it. Sure, it's life, it's knowledge. Water helps you breathe better the more of it you drink because water is air. You're drinking oxygen. So if it's too cold to go outside, you can still get fresh air. But you got to drink it, though, because it's going to be in that form. Same thing in the summer. If it's too hot to go outside and it's just stuffy and humid or whatever the case, you just drink some water. When you're feeling under the weather and you don't want to catch nothing, they say sweat it out. You might take a steaming hot shower, something that makes you sweat hot enough to make water come up from out of you. Just like eating before Adam was given the job to till the ground. They talk about springs of water coming up from out of the ground to water the earth. With a certain amount of functionality and activity, we sweat. So water will literally come up from out of the ground known as our skin and water it. And we'll get moisture. But if we don't put any water there, though, however, you won't. You won't get sweat. I've been dehydrated before and played a sport. You be feeling like you made out of fiberglass. You just be sparkling and tingling because the pores be stopped up. And I'm just saying a few random things in regards to occult information, but not in a way that I'm trying to convince you of the occult information, the same way I wasn't trying to convince you of the Bible information. But what I do want to convince you of is that there is not a single piece of information on this planet or beyond this planet that cannot help you if you learn how to transmute it, how to make it real for you, how to make it real, how to make it applicable, how to make it physical. We want the people to be empowered, not just informed, but empowered. We don't want them to just have knowledge. We want them to be wise, which is the correct application of the knowledge. Let's say, for instance, some occult people call me out. Let's say that happens, all right? And occult people say, "Hey, look, you're not teaching it right." Then I can always respond, because of the way that I teach. I can always respond with, I'm not teaching them the symbolism of the occult from the perspective of where you're coming from with it, or what you and your people may intend with it. Now, if there are synchronicities there in my explanations that do resonate with how you originally designed it, that's cool. But if not, just understand that I'm not trying to swap out the original information in any way, shape, or form. I'm not trying to alter or manipulate any of it. I'm just taking information and processing it in a way that can help a person move through life better and see their way more clearly. And with every action they take, they won't just have knowledge, but they'll have action steps that they can take for whatever path they choose in this life, or whatever activity they want to do. They can look at things like the pyramid and understand that there's an order, to understand that the higher up you go, the fewer there are around you. It's like magic when you understand that going into every situation, that is like a pyramid. There's somebody at the top and there's a whole lot of people at the bottom. And even if those steps on that pyramid should disappear and it become a smooth triangle where everybody slides down, where you think they're going? To scatter across the land, and to go underground where the other side of the pyramid is, because all it is a diamond. It's two triangles. There's one above and one below. And I mean, some of the information that's out there about pyramids and things of that nature is fascinating. And I often turn it over in my mind. Things like how you can get into the universe from the middle of the earth and things like that. It's like, wow. You know, that is very, very, very like interesting to look at and think about and consider. I'm not here to say it's true or false, but what I am here to say is, if you can go into other star systems through the middle of the earth, then I resonate with it. I'm cool with it, because I know that my body is the earth, that my body is made of earth, and that if I want to go and explore all of these worlds, I got to go within. I got to go in the center of myself. And that's going to allow me to expand to the other constellations. I got to go within and tap into the potential and tap into the darkness, the blackness, the universe. Because it's a mirror. It's a mirror. So I can dig it. I can dig it all. The idea that planets are disk, the idea that we're on an infinitely expanding plane, I love it. I'm around for it. I'm down for it. I'm not here to reject any of that stuff. But what I will say, the way I'll break it down with things like that is like, there's no limit to how far you can go in life. No matter what kind of barriers are put up and what people say about how far you can go, there's an infinite expanse. And in order to understand all those planets, you just look up all the characteristics that's associated with those planets and then apply it to how you're moving in and out of this sphere, how you're moving in and out of this. So you may have to go into your Jupiter, big time creation. You might have to go into your Mercury, big time information. You might have to go into your Venus, big time aesthetics. You might have to go into your Mars if you got to defend something, big time war energy, etc., etc. You might have to go into your Pluto energy, which is one of my personal favorites because it deals with the idea of being able to persuade existence itself. And it has everything to do with the mystical and the magical. So Pluto, speaking from an astrological stance, however very limited my astrological information is, Pluto is, I resonate with that being the other end of the spectrum for me, because as what the characteristics attached to Venus are is aesthetics, beauty, love, groundedness, physicality, materiality. Shoot, I'm down to want to get physical materials via mystical means. Yeah, I'm down for that. Yes, I am. I'm down for that. So all of you occult teachers out there, keep teaching. I'm watching. I'm listening. I can dig it. I'm hitting likes. I'm in the comments, bigging you guys up, saluting, definitely. And the reason why I'm teaching it like this is out of respect for a lot of you, because I know that this ground was covered in much more greater detail by you guys. So I'm just adding my slant on the information and just being able to bring it out into the world through the expression, through the unit known as Taurian, also known as Super T Sigma. So let's expand, let's expound, let's explore before we expire.